And we're going to shift again to foreign policy. And we begin with Mike Pompeo. Do you support legislation to lift travel and trade restrictions with Cuba, and will it change the culture of the communist Castro regime?
I do not support lifting those restrictions. Having said that, I'm as strong an advocate for free trade, I think, as you will find. There are a handful of circumstances where I think national security, and we've got an island just 90 miles off our shore, where we have a responsibility to try and do something different and make sure that that government ends up in a different place. I want to spend a few seconds talking about trade because it's very important. Some of my opponents will talk about the fact that my company, Thayer Aerospace, moved jobs to Mexico. First of all, it's false. No jobs were moved. I created a business and I added 60 jobs here and created a facility in Mexicali, Mexico along with it. My customer demanded it. It was so that they could in turn sell airplanes all over the world. We live in the 4th District of Kansas. A global competitive nation must be able to compete and trade freely. Our agricultural folks want open markets. Our aircraft manufacturing folks want open markets. It's very important that we make sure we have a competitive environment here so we grow the jobs here and that our companies compete all over the world.
Thank you, Mike Pompeo. Up next, Rick Hartman.
I am definitely against lifting the embargo for Cuba. All we have in Cuba is another dictator that's approximately the same age, but it's the relative and the brother there of Castro. Nothing is going to change in Cuba until the Cuban people decide to change something for themselves. We cannot continue to conquer the world. We cannot continue to fight battles on all fronts. We have many, many scrimmages at present, and getting involved in Cuba, as Kennedy almost did for us many, many years ago, is not a very viable option. Free trade is. Free trade is the possibility to get our economy back on track. Free trade in the 4th District especially would be good for agriculture. We need free trade for those people that are trying to survive on the family farm. It would also be very, very good for the aircraft manufacturers, for they do not sell planes just in the 4th District. They sell planes all over the world. So I would suggest we keep the embargo on Cuba, but we start to look at the free trade as an option for us to move our country and our jobs, and especially the 4th District, forward.
Thank you, Rick Hartman. Jim Anderson.
Well, this is an issue that's close to my heart. My wife is Cuban, and her parents obviously are Cuban. They fled from Havana back in the late 50s, 60s, and they saw a tyrannical regime between Batista and Castro, and they see that happening here today. I would definitely not lift the embargo at all. It's counterproductive, and that's just going to condone what they're doing and how they're treating their people. And eventually the people in Cuba are going to rise up and fight against that tyrannical government, and someday they're going to win, folks. They want liberty. They want freedom. That's why so many came to Florida legally so many years ago, because they loved freedom, and they wanted freedom, and they wanted the opportunity to have a career for themselves and to feed their families. On that note, as far as trade goes, we need a truly open trade policy without it being encumbered by the federal government, rules, and regulations. Let the farmers grow what they want, where they want, when they want, and sell it for how much they want. And that goes for all manufacturers.
All right, thanks, Jim. Jean Schodorf.
Well, I come from this in a little different angle. First of all, if the trade embargo were lifted, Kansas would benefit. And Kansas farmers want to take wheat to Cuba. It would benefit Kansas for our wheat, for more wheat to be sold elsewhere. But I have a little story to tell about my daughter, the other daughter. I have one here, but the older daughter went to semester at sea, and it was 911, and she ended up going to Cuba instead of through Egypt and the Suez Canal. And she went to a party. It was awful at where Fidel Castro actually was, in his villa. And anyway, the next day she saw some healthcare agencies, and she went to the market. And she wanted to know how much this would be, a picture would be. And he goes, your shoes. What? Your shoes. And he said, I have 5 teenagers. I need your shoes. So she went back and got all of her shoes, all of her makeup, all of her, whatever it was she had for school, her calculator, and she went back and bartered. And if we opened the market, these people are ready to have free enterprise and to have a democracy. And if we could visit there and their relatives could visit there, the people in Miami, the people in Florida would see to it that it became a democracy. And I think it would help the people of Cuba. The people of Cuba,
All right,
not
thank
the
you,
democracy. Not the
All right,
dictator.
that ends another round. We have